Ko Haloim La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to give a double honors to the apostles and elders, the prophesies in Ruel for the hopeful 144 and one third of Yasharallah, who this word refers to as Israel, starting at the house of great millstone. Shalom to you, Akim, who teach and learn in sincerity. Shalom to the Akwith, who learn in sincerity. It's your brother, Kanan. And this will be titled, Put a Fork in Her. And when I say her, I'm referring to spiritual Babylon. I'm referring to spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm referring to spiritual Egypt. Okay? Hell, spiritual Nineveh. All right? That's why that Eclipse went over all of those towns with the same name. There's no coincidence. This is Yahweh Bashmi Awashai's movie. It's his story, and it's playing out perfect. All right, put a fork in her. All right, so let's get that. All right, what does put a fork in her mean? Used to indicate that something or someone, who's the someone? A people, okay? The Edomites, all right? Starting with who? Spiritual Babylon. And then if you want to go in the background, really, okay, Amalek, okay, his people. Put a fork in her, okay? So used to indicate that, so I'm using this phrase, put a fork in her, to indicate that, used to indicate that something or someone is finished, okay? So that's what I'm indicating. Or in a broad, uh, or in a broader sense, defeated or ruined. And that's what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is doing, bringing down spiritual Babylon. Okay, Esau had his time. All right, and it's not just spiritual Babylon. It's all of them. So we're gonna get into this. Okay, it's all of the Edomites. This is not one proportion that he has a conflict with. No, it's all the Edomites, and we're gonna get into this. Adawan Ratazah, Lord willing. This is the book of Obadiah. Only one chapter, as you see. So let's go. Obadiah 1 and 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, Allah, power, okay, concerning Edom. Man, you can never get around those people, Edom. The people that some people say that don't even exist today, but we know they here because we know that the Bible, word for word, it speaks truth. Okay, so concerning Edom, the so-called white people, the so-called Europeans, so-called Egyptians at one time, you name it. And speaking of that, Egyptians, okay, let's go. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh Bashmi Shai. An ambassador is sent amongst the heathen. Who is that ambassador? Yasharallah. Who is that ambassador? The hopeful 144 on this side, but the actual already committed from Yahweh Bashmi Shai election. His prophets, his seers, the ambassadors are sent, okay, amongst the heathen. Who are the heathen? The 17 nations, including two-thirds of our nation for having that mentality. I mean, this is what it is. They live the lifestyle, so they are heathens too. But the true heathens are the 17 nations, starting with Edom. Okay, you got it. Moab, Ammon, Ham. You got it. Japheth. You keep going. Their descendants. Those are the heathens. Okay. So once again, Obadiah 1 and 1. The vision of Obadiah thus says Yahweh Bashim Shai, Allah power concerning Edom. Okay, the Ish people, all the way through the to spiritual Babylon to even Russia. And we're gonna hit on that. I mean, your so-called Europeans, whatever you want to so-call them, the red man. Okay. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh Bashim Shai. An ambassador is sent amongst the heathen. Now, who are the heathen? Once again, not just Edom, all the nations that are outside Yasharallah. He Prince of Power, Yusakah, African Americans, Native Americans, Hispanics. The rest of these nations are the heathens. Arise ye, and let let us rise up against her. Who is her? Spiritual Babylon. Over here in United States of America. Her in battle. So once again, arise ye and let us who? All of these nations rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small amongst the heathen. Okay, so how did he make United States of America small amongst the nations? Who was first to have that nuclear technology and use it? Now, who has right to say if who has right to threaten the United States of America back with that same technology? Okay, North Korea. That's just I'm just throwing it out there. We know they do. For so long, it's been a joke, but it's no longer a joke. Yes, he said, "Let the weak say I am strong." Okay, and now if the weak is saying I am strong, that means you're no longer strong, mighty man. You get it? Okay. Behold, I have made thee small amongst the heathen. Thou art greatly despised amongst who? All the nations. Okay, let's bring it out. No longer is United States of America the police of the world. Now they're the terrorists of the world, along with their little bastard ass homeboy or little brother, whatever you want to call it. It's the same people running it. So okay, the pride of thy heart, of thy lob, thy mind has deceived thee. Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks, who is that? High risers. Who does that? We already know who introduced that and who lives that way to this day. Whose habitations is high, set up high, just like the folly that is set up in um, great esteem, basically. Who shall bring me down to the ground? Okay, who can defeat this great nation, these great people of war, of wicked leadership? Okay, who can defeat them? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. See, now who exalts thyself as the eagle to this day? That's spiritual Babylon's mascot, but it's also the mascot of the Europeans throughout timelines, throughout history. They've always clinged on to that. It's the same culture. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? And thou, and though thou set thy nest, thy home amongst the stars, do they now have those space stations? Okay? There's will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh Shai. So they've reached the heavens, meaning the upper atmosphere, but they can't go to outer space, which you would know as outer space. Those planets are reserved for the Israelites, okay? Those are the homes. Yahweh Shah said there are many mansions in my father's kingdom. All right, he meant those different planets but that don't belong to Edom, okay? Edom is just a temporary threat here on earth, okay? This is the book of Revelations 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, what is the beast? I showed you the picture. The beast represents NATO. Over 70, I think 5 years of raping, privilege, stealing, having a way. All of these nations coming together to just be wicked. Okay? Under who? Under United States of America, spiritual Babylon, spiritual Egypt. Okay? Spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. These shall hate the whore. Who? Hate the whore. So as I showed you this picture right here, she's riding upon this beast, but that beast is going to hate that whore, which once again represents she got the golden cup in her hand. That goes to Revelations 2. With the drunken off the what's that? The legislation, the blood. Okay, the bloodshed. What do my elders and apostles say? My apostles and elders say democracy, grenade, boom, for real. Okay, so once again, Revelations 17 and 16. And then and the ten horns which thou sawest upon the beast, okay? So these represent the nations of NATO shall hate the whore. Do your research what's going on with NATO right now. Ex- imploding. Imploding meaning exploding from within side right now. No more get along to get along. Now it's watch your own back, okay? These shall hate the whore. So if you see this taking place right now, you understand where I'm coming from. There's fighting from within. While other nations are coming together, BRICS, get it? Okay? Coming together under who? The bear Russia, right? All right. And she'll make her desolate and naked with what? With missiles, ICBMs, with drones, with tanks, with soldiers. Okay? And she'll eat her flesh and burn her with fire. How do we burn with fire these days? Once again, those ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay? It's going to take less than an hour. But let's get it. Fair use 107, fair use copyright. I'm not selling a product. This is strictly educational purposes.
And being engaging in war and being destabilized as a result of being like a client state of the US. That just seems like a kind of basic logic. And I'm just curious if that is some of the thinking here, is like witnessing the last few years of the US sort of behaving recklessly with its own allies.
Yeah, those are really great points.
What did I just get through reading? Revelations 17 and 16. And that beast that the whore is sitting on is no longer going to tolerate the leadership of this whore, because this is what it comes down to, the guidance of this whore, okay? And what's going to happen now? We're about to witness it. We're living in these days, okay?
Yeah, those are really great points you make. I think it's important to maybe go back to the start of Trump's presidency and the end of Obama's presidency. During the Obama years, the U.S. obviously negotiated and entered the JCPOA, the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, that did not address any non-nuclear issues, and it was negotiated with no Saudi input, and that infuriated the leadership in Riyadh. Then, from the Saudi perspective, the Obama administration completely failed to understand or sympathize with Saudi Arabia's perceptions of Iran. Then when Trump's presidency began, the Saudis saw this as a really unique opportunity to sort of influence the U.S. in ways that would bode well for Saudi Arabia's perceived interests. And Saudi Arabia was one of only 4 countries in the world that hailed Trump's decision to pull out of the JCPOA in May of 2018. And then the Saudis lobbied the U.S. to impose maximum pressure on Iran. But we moved to 2019. There were a series of acts of sabotage in the Gulf off the UAE's coast that targeted some vessels. That in September of that year were the attacks on Saudi energy infrastructure. And I think that was a really important moment for Saudi Arabia's foreign policy decision making. They realized all of the US sanctions on Iran, all the pressure on Iran, all the military threats against Iran was doing nothing to make Saudi Arabia any more secure. And I think it sort of speaks to the wisdom of Mohammed bin Salman and his ability to sort of reassess and maybe learn from some mistakes. He concluded that if we feel a threat from Iran, the best thing for us to do is talk to the Iranians. And beginning in April 2021, there were a number of rounds of talks between Saudi and Iranian officials that took place in.
Okay, so you understand what's going on. This is just